Now, I know everyone feels ready for fall, but these zinnias came out of my garden yesterday. This is a bouquet I made yesterday, so it is still summer here. A little bit of sourdough starter for some fun summer sourdough recipes like we're doing today, some farm fresh eggs from a friend. Those green peppers are fermenting, they're from my garden. And this watermelon actually split in my garden this morning, so I took it out. So if the watermelon's growing, it's not time for pumpkin spice yet. One of my favorite things to do in summer is to experiment with new cooking projects because I have the time and the space to do it. So today I am making some sourdough discard soft pretzels. This recipe comes from Farmhouse on Boom, which you can find in the link below. And here I am just adding 3 teaspoons of active dry yeast into a cup of warm water, giving a little whirl and letting it sit for about 5 minutes. So just giving it a little stir and then adding in the remaining ingredients 5 minutes later. So here is 1 cup or about 285 grams of sourdough discard. I did not use an active starter, so this was just what I took out of my jar before I needed to feed my sourdough starter. Next I'm adding in 4 cups of all-purpose flour. It's kind of hard to see the container in the video, but I do want to note that I really love these flour containers. I bought this container at Costco and it has a little bar on the inside so you can knock the measuring cup and make sure that everything, there's no air bubbles in there or like mist spots. And then you can also level with that. So I love that. If you have a Costco membership, I recommend you get one. If you know me, you know I love Costco. Then I add in 2 tablespoons of honey, and this is just plain old store brand honey. Typically, I actually like to buy better honey, but you do the best you can. It was what I had access to at the moment. I didn't have time or energy to run anywhere else to get honey, so I just grabbed what they had at my local grocery store down the street. Then last but not least, I also add in 2 teaspoons of salt, and I prefer to use coarse kosher salt for everything that I make, but of course you can use whatever type of salt you have on hand. So it's pretty easy. Just throw in 2 teaspoons of salt, then you attach it into your stand mixer if you have one. Otherwise, you can knead it by hand for 2 minutes. So here I'm just using the dough hook and I start it on just the stir for a minute so it doesn't make too much of a mess, and then I bump it up to speed 2 for most of the time. Toward the end I did bump it up to speed 4 just for a second because it was having a hard time. But I like to use this coated dough hook because it can be put in the dishwasher. I don't like to hand wash things if I don't have to. Sometimes I do, as you'll see later. You just have to hand wash things sometimes, but I don't want to hand wash a dough hook. So I really like this coated one that I will link below that you can grab on Amazon. And then here too, sometimes what I like to do, and I'm using flour in my stand mixer, is stop it for a second and take just a little spatula and scrape the sides, because the dough hook does a pretty good job of getting things off the sides, but I have found that it can use a little assistance. And then of course this is just sped up because you don't need to sit through 2 whole minutes of my stand mixer mixing away. While that was mixing, I took a little bit of spray avocado oil and lightly sprayed the bowl. So I put the dough from the stand mixer into the lightly greased bowl. And then I like to move my dough around a little bit and flip it over just so all sides, the top and bottom, get a little bit of that avocado oil on it. That prevents it from drying out. And then this is just a damp towel that I'm putting over the dough so that way it stays nice and moist in there and the dough doesn't dry out. And then the dough is just going to chill on the counter for about 60 to 90 minutes or so, or until doubled. Okay, so it's been like, I don't know, maybe close to 45 minutes or so since I put the dough in the bowl to proof. We'll check it here in a few minutes, but I just got my little one down for her nap and it is time to start cleaning up because I have some dishes left over from last night. I have breakfast dishes, lunch dishes, pretzel dishes, you name it, I got it. So I'm gonna clean up while she's sleeping and then we'll get back to the pretzels. Okay, so cleaning the kitchen isn't necessarily my favorite thing to do. However, it's something I do about 3 times a day. There's only 3 of us. It's my husband, my child, and me, but somehow we accumulate a ton of dishes. I don't know how anyone with more than one child ever keeps up, because I can barely keep up with just the three of us. But in any case, so I like to just clean things up as I go. So that way, as I head into dinner later today, I don't have a super messy kitchen. And I kind of already had a messy kitchen starting this project, because I had leftover dishes from last night. I didn't get a chance to clean up anything after breakfast and before I took my little girl to school today. So cleaning things up now. I said earlier, I don't like to hand wash things, but I am actually hand washing my cast iron skillet here. So I live for cooking in cast iron. I'm here to tell you, you can hand wash your cast iron. I just don't do it all the time. They say not to, because back in the day, soap was actually made with acidic ingredients that would take the coating off of your skillet, but it won't anymore. So don't scrub it hard, just give it a light little wash and you should be good to go, and just make sure you season it pretty regularly. But in any case, so hand washing cast iron skillet, hand washing a few things, and getting the kitchen kind of sort of ready to go. So that way we can get back into making pretzels. Okay, so kitchen's all clean. Let's check on the dough. I just looked at it a few minutes ago and it is rising. So this is a little bit different than, say, like a bread dough. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, maybe dense is the word I'm looking for here, but it is rising. So we'll give it a little more time. One thing I run into in my house is that we tend to keep our house a little cooler than other people do in summer. So sometimes my stuff takes longer to rise. One thing I could do is go ahead and just turn the temp up a little bit, because A, that's probably just better. B, my stuff will rise. Okay, so while we're waiting, I am gonna run outside and check on the garden. So I haven't posted, well, anything, because this is my first YouTube video that I'm posting, but I definitely haven't posted much about my garden yet. So one thing you should know about my garden is I got a super late start. I don't know what I'm doing. It's kind of a mess, but it's been awesome. So I'll take you for a little tour and you can see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing that we have here is a green stalk. I actually have 4 of these, but I only put 1 up so far. If the weather holds up, I'll be putting up another one tomorrow for fall. But in this one right now, I have beets and radishes up top. I have French breakfast radishes and rainbow beets, and then carrots here, rainbow carrots. And then these are 3 different pea varieties, none of which I can remember. But so far things are doing okay. It's been really hot here, so I guess we'll see how things turn out. This was a little bit of an herb garden here, but I actually cut everything back about, probably I'd say about 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, because it was so hot, everything was about to bolt. So I took everything out. I preserved all my herbs. The garlic chives I preserved in butter. I actually froze the basil. Oh, you know what? I actually preserved some basil in butter too. And then I froze the chocolate mint. I froze some sage, parsley, the dill. We already used that up a long time ago. And the lemon verbena I froze too. So all that's been preserved, but things are coming back because it's still pretty hot out here and still growing season here in coastal North Carolina. So this bed, first of all, don't mind the double fencing. We've had major critter problems and the critters breached the first fencing, so we had to put more fencing in. But so here, this morning, I planted Brussels sprout starts. So you can kind of see them here. They're little. I started these in my house. I really needed to get them outside because I cannot keep lugging these things in and out to harden them. But I put them outside today. It was supposed to be overcast, but of course it's sunny. But it's supposed to rain the next couple of days. So I thought it would be a good time to put them out in the garden. And then these are pumpkins. I forget which one's which. One is a fairy tale pumpkin and one's a Cinderella pumpkin. So these are growing. I'm hoping to train them up and over the fencing, and then they can grow out here toward the wetlands behind my house. This is where my watermelon was growing. I took them out. I still have Tabasco peppers left in here that I'll harvest when they're ready. They're not quite there yet. But this bed I'm probably going to cover up because I think the rest of my fall garden I'm going to do my green stalks. I might put some broccoli in here. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, I think once the Tabasco peppers are done, I'll probably just cover this up for the season. And then over here are, oh look, a little butterfly. How cool. Check it out. Hey, butterfly. This is my makeshift cut flower bed. So I've been harvesting zinnias and some dahlias, what dahlias grew. And earlier in the season, Shasta daisies, but actually my zinnias kind of took out my Shasta daisies, so they're not there anymore. But I've been growing my cut flowers in this small bed this season. And then over here, I did have some baby honey nut, butternut squash in here, but I harvested them yesterday. A couple herbs that I cut back that are growing back nicely. And then a pepper plant that's actually growing a ton of peppers. I have about a half a gallon bag full of chopped peppers in my freezer from this plant alone, which is super cool. And then up here, this is actually my fire pit, but I have a gang of bunnies that were destroying my sweet potatoes. So I moved all of my sweet potatoes that are in fabric grow bags onto my patio. So I can't use my fire pit or anything because the bunnies were eating all of my stuff. So these guys, they are going to be ready for harvest in just a couple weeks. So far they're doing really well. It's very hot out, so they're looking a little droopy at the moment. However, when it cools off today, I think they will begin to perk up a little bit. They seem to get floppy during the day and perky in the evening, kind of like me. Okay, it's been a little more than 90 minutes as the recipe suggests, but I had to snuggle a babe upstairs. She didn't really want to go down for her nap, but this dough is ready. So it is doubled. It might be a little bit hard to tell that it's doubled just because the bowl kind of distorts the perspective a little bit, but it is doubled. It is ready to go. So let's start making some pretzels. Okay, so from this point, you just take your dough out once it's doubled, and the recipe says to divide it in, I think it says, let me look here, into 15 pieces. I actually cut mine into 16 because it just worked out better that way. And you'll see too, when I cut these, they're not all equal sizes, which might drive some people crazy, but A, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me if every single pretzel is the same size. And B, I have a 2-year-old, so I actually like having a couple smaller sizes for her, so that way she doesn't have to eat like a huge pretzel or feel like she wants to eat a giant pretzel. She can just have a smaller one. So I cut it in 4 pieces, and then I cut each of those pieces in half again to make 8. And then as you'll see, the video will speed up here in a second, and I do that with the other half of the dough to leave me with 16 unequal but certainly delicious pieces of dough for pretzels. So actually making the pretzels, rolling them out was like, it was a vibe. for the first few rounds. They were really messy. And if you look in the background, you can see those first couple of pretzels look pretty gnarly, but they're getting a little bit better as I go. So you just roll each piece of dough into about 18 inches or so. And then you just twist it over and shape it into a pretzel. So I did a double twist before I squeezed it together and pinched the dough. So that way, hopefully it'll hold up a little bit better. Technically, I like my things to have a little more aesthetic appeal than what these do, but this is my first time making this recipe, and it's the first time in probably, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years since I've made pretzels. So I'm pretty rusty. So the goal here is just to make them and see if they work and then enjoy them. So next time, hopefully they'll be a little prettier, but you can see they are getting a little bit better as I go. One thing that'll suck the joy right out of kitchen projects and fun in the kitchen is to try and make it perfect the first time. I do think there is a lot of pleasure and satisfaction to be gained from making things and making them beautiful, but that takes practice. So I'm giving myself a little bit of space and a little bit of grace, as they say, to just make them and enjoy them and see how they turn out. Maybe next time they'll be better. Who knows? Maybe this time they'll be perfect. And then once all of your pretzels are assembled, just cover them with a tea towel and they can rest for about 30 to 60 minutes or until puffy. Okay, so it's been about an hour and they're looking good. So these are getting puffy, so they are ready to be cooked and soon to be enjoyed. So let's get to cooking these. Cooking these requires 2 steps. 1, preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and 2, get a large pot of water boiling. Any pot will do that will hold a few pretzels. Then throw in a tablespoon of baking soda and a tablespoon of brown sugar. And I will say next time, I think I would add more baking soda and maybe leave out the brown sugar. The brown sugar didn't really seem to add much to it. And I wanted a little more of that zing that you get with a pretzel from the baking soda. So a little trial and error here. You can see what works for you. Then when you are ready, put the pretzels in the water one at a time and cook them on each side for just 30 seconds. One thing I learned here that I did not do in this video is I next time would put the pretzels in face down first, because you have to flip them. And then from there, you have to take them out and put them onto the baking sheet. So what happened was once I flipped it, then I had to basically flip it again to get it onto the cookie sheet, which isn't that big of a deal, but they are a little delicate and it's just an extra step that you can avoid. So I would put them in, and this is actually what I did on the second batch, put them in face down, then in 30 seconds, flip them so they're face up in the water. Then you can take them out and put them onto your baking sheet. So over here, you see I have a parchment lined baking sheet. Another side note, I did not use a baking sheet that was big enough. I was in a hurry. Things were starting to move quickly toward dinner time at this point, so I needed to get going and I wasn't paying attention. So they ended up being a little crammed on my baking sheet, but it still worked out. Then take a little bit of an egg wash. That's one egg yolk. I used a farm fresh egg that I got from a friend. And then a tablespoon of water, mix it together and brush it onto the tops of the pretzels and sprinkle with either coarse kosher salt, if you have pretzel salt, or whatever you prefer. You could even use cinnamon and sugar at this point, whatever you like on top of your soft pretzels. So you just repeat this process until your baking sheet is full. So once your baking sheet is then full, you can pop them into the oven, again at 425 degrees, and bake them until they're brown on top. Now the recipe says about 15 minutes, but mine actually took a little bit closer to 20. That could be for a couple of reasons. One, I did kind of have them squished, as you'll see here in a second, on my baking sheet. But also my oven's new and I'm still adjusting to the temperature. It seems to be maybe a little bit off compared to my old oven. So just make sure you keep an eye on them, and when they're golden on top, they are ready to come out of the oven. And voila. That's it, easy and delicious sourdough discard pretzels. We snacked on these with a little bit of mustard, which was really yummy, but what I really liked is we ate them with some sausages and some pickled watermelon relish, which was delicious, by the way. But these would be great dipped in chocolate sauce, caramel sauce, however you want. And what I really love about these as an end of summer treat is that it just reminds me of those last days of summer when I was a kid, going to the fair or going to the carnival and getting concessions, but of course in a healthier and much more rewarding way. So that's it, guys, for my sourdough discard pretzels. Thank you so much for tuning in to my first YouTube video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.